So the other side of that is understanding contrast and how it's useful and how to apply it to make things easier, okay? Now, in my previous videos, I was saying about privacy and about how it doesn't exist really, general, integrity and dignity. And this is huge, huge. This kind of system that we're in at the moment is very much moving in towards the authentic side of things. And it's bringing that out in us. And we're all being very challenged in different ways to stay on point and to stay authentic, and sometimes the more you try to remain on that path, the more you get nudged off, or you get challenged, or you get tested, or whatever way these things happen. But it's knowing how to use the challenges that's the key. It's knowing how to use them, because they're actually serving us when we put our ego aside and get the ego out of the way. So it's knowing how to apply all of the challenges. And they're showing up everywhere. It's becoming more and more intense. And another thing I wanted to touch on, because I have my own way of explaining things. I have my own take on things. So I wanted to talk. Now, this is another thing I've been talking about for a very long time. In fact, I drew a picture about it when I was about 14 or 13. Which is to do with curses and hexes, okay? Things like that have been taken very much out of context. And it's riddled people with a lot of fear and delusion. I'm not saying that there isn't evil and good. Of course there is. We're in a system built on duality. But there's a lot of myths out there that, bug me, to be honest, that aren't true. So I just wanted to go into this a little bit. This is all tied together, all of this stuff. Hexes and curses, when somebody intentionally wants to harm another person, okay? It's really like the picture I drew at that age was an actual voodoo doll, right? So it was a doll that turned on itself, essentially. And I grew up in a culture, both Persian and both Irish, which are both very superstitious. The evil eye is a huge thing. In Ireland, there's superstitions running all over the place, okay? Now, I know some of them come from genuine wisdom, and a lot of them get diluted and twisted and used against us, as do most things in a lot of systems that we know about, okay? So when somebody tries to hex another person, all they're doing is they're hexing themselves. That's all they're doing, okay? I just wanted to really clarify this, because the amount of power people give away and self-induced fear that comes from the belief that somebody can do that to you is the only basis for it. It's your belief that gives them that power. That's it. If you believe somebody has that power over you, they do. If you believe they don't have that power, they don't. Okay? Like, can you imagine being in that kind of energy or frequency that you would intentionally want to hurt a person, like go to, I don't know, a practitioner, or do some kind of ritual or something? Well, that energy has to go through that person first, right? It has to go through them first. So it's already within that person. And we've heard the term karma is like a boomerang. You throw that boomerang, it's coming back. It's already on the way back, and it's going to hit you in the face when you least expect it, okay? In order to teach you, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. And the only way you're going to understand is by experiencing what it is that you projected at that person being projected back onto yourself, right? This is something I've been saying to different people for a very long time. And that goes for a lot of different things in the spiritual field, okay? Or the field of duality and balance and karma and all that stuff. Another example is like, imagine a fisherman, for example. He has a rod. He throws that rod. There's bait on the rod and he throws it. And depending on his intention, he has no idea what's going to bite that. And something eventually, inevitably, is going to bite onto that rod. And who's going to reel it back in? Himself or herself. So this is, you know, the intention comes back to the person, not the person they're targeting. You know, manipulate energy in a negative way like that, it only affects the person that's creating it. And I know a lot of people are very hurt from their past. I've had a really tough past myself. But, you know, this isn't the victim Olympics. It's not the victim Olympics here, okay? Everything happens to serve us. Absolutely everything. And it takes time. It takes time to process emotions and pain. I know all about it. But some people hold on to it so much, like as if they're going to get front row seats to see the other person's karma. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that. The more you're choke holding the energy of anything, it can't move. It can't do anything. That's how powerful you are with energy. Like everything's energy. The same goes for love or for money. And how do you expect any kind of an outcome? You have to release it. You have to let go. You have to let go of it. There's a lot of talk in this field of manifestation now, the real manifestation, not the secret stuff, right? The real stuff that requires the inner work or the shadow work, all the stuff that I'm talking about. And really and truly manifestation, as some people have said online, which are very good at explaining it, you're always manifesting, first of all. You never stop manifesting. When people say, how do I manifest? Well, you never stop doing it. And everything in your life reflects a lot of what's going on the inside. Again, the intention, the rod, the fisherman, right? But with real manifestation, it's about setting an intention and releasing control, okay? You take steps toward it and you align with it. You align with it and you don't hold or choke hold the outcome, because it never turns out the way we expect it. Never. It normally turns out better, in fact, and that's great. And if we did know how it was going to turn out, then, well, takes all the surprise out of it, the goodness, the thrill. It's not always as easy as some of these people are saying. It's not always the way it sounds. If everybody could control their lives, everyone would have what they want already. There would be no suffering. There would be no challenges. There'd be nothing like that. So I'm heading into the free will lane here a little bit, but it's all connected. That's why I'm trying to clarify some of this stuff. Like luck, for example. Luck, I truly believe that you do create your own luck. The saying, you know, it's when opportunity and preparation meet. Very true. Alignment. So if you're dreaming of things that are very much focused on duality, balance, or karma, it's your subconscious trying to teach you something. It's trying to teach you something, whether it's to be more aware of something or release something. Again, there's, you know, that duality. It's trying to speak to us constantly. I'm seeing and I'm feeling quite a bit of resistance in some people's energies lately. Whether it's online or whether it's in reality. And it really, it's painful sometimes to watch that, because people are resisting their own truth, their own boundaries, their healthy boundaries, or they're second guessing themselves, or they're doing, like, they're hurting themselves for no reason because they've made the right choices. Sometimes we need a voice of reason, you know, to come in and say, you're not doing anything wrong, you're doing something right for the first time, you just had to get used to it. You're not used to it. You know, like this whole codependency and narcissism thing, for example, that we're all very aware of the role that, you know, it takes both of those to play, the enabling of both of those to exist. And as traumatic and painful as those dynamics are, they're still happening to serve us. I'm not saying that it's okay to hurt people. It's not okay. We're moving out of that consciousness now. We're moving away from it, because once we're aware of something, there's no going back. That's on us if we do that. That's on our own heads if we do that. If we set a healthy boundary and we allow somebody to cross it, it's on us. It's just that simple. And this goes back to the hexes and the curses as well, because hexes and curses don't always mean, you know, big hoods and candles and blood sacrifices. No, that has been made like overcomplicated for a reason. It's to hide it in plain sight. I know that sounds cliche, but it's the bloody truth. The most dangerous kind of curse and hex is gaslighting. It's that simple. It's people getting into your head and choosing what you're thinking for you, manipulating your feelings, making you feel a certain way that suits their narrative or their life more than yours. That's real dark magic. And we see it all the time. Come on, we've all seen it. We're all guilty of manipulation in some form or another. Good, bad, doesn't matter. We're human. We make mistakes. But there's a far greater, bigger force, let's say, at work that's gotten into people's heads and said, this is the way you've got to live. This is the way families are. This is the way friendships are. We all know that stuff is going to tower moment. And there's one tower falling after another. For people that, you know, think that this stuff is woo-woo or whatever, it isn't. It isn't. It's just the laws of this game that we're in called the universe. And those are the rules.